Hello, this is Hailin Xu, and this video is my response to WATI's questions. I'll first read out the questions and speak out my responses. The first question is explaining what clean code is. In my opinion, clean code should be nicely formatted. That's of course first extensible, flexible, and easy to maintain. And when bad things happen, it should be easy to diagnose where the issue is. Basically, that's about observability, maybe. And of course, first and foremost, it should be logically correct. I think there are lots of principles and rules to define how clean a piece of code is. But in my opinion, how clean a piece of code should be also depends on a lot of factors, such as available resources, for example, how many developers, and the budget, the time to market, and project type. If it's an MVP or maybe just prototype, then maybe we can sacrifice a bit on cleanliness at first, and we pay back the technical debt at a later stage. I think it's basically strike a balance. The second question is define what a professional developer is. A professional developer, in my mind, is one who has enough knowledge of software engineering principles and techniques, and deep skills in one or more areas, such as certain frameworks, certain languages, and a broader view of the technical landscape, and also a passion to learn and build. On top of all those things, a professional developer should also has good communication skills so that he can gather requirements, understand the domain, and work well with others such as colleagues, designers, testers, product managers, and clients, etc. The third question is explain clearly the meaning of clause for modification in OCP, which I think is the open close principle. I think this principle describes a class, function, or some other entities such as a module in a project or even library should foresee the common need to extend or change its behavior without having to for the end user of this function or class or this module having to modify its source code to achieve such change. The extension of such an entity is, I think, usually done with inheritance, which is available in most languages, or some kind of options or settings, or some kind of delegate functions, or delegate objects, even callbacks, etc., etc. Next question is about talking about a recent professional success story that involves C# and .NET Core. Just a few months ago, I was tasked to create a module to export data in our database of a given user to an Excel file. And that user also we need to let the user define the layout, pick what data needs to be exported, and also choose from multiple data sources. It's quite complex, involve a lot of involve databases, designing of a script language to let user of course very small though, to let user define the layout and intentions and etc., etc. And also we need to implement the syntax and the parser, and then basically combine the data sources and export to write to an Excel file. This is done in .NET Core 6.0 and C Sharp, of course C Sharp. In this project I used below principles. The first one is preferred immutability over, of course, over mutable structures such as default classes. In C Sharp, default setup is that user is mutable. So with immutability, that means extensive usage of C Sharp records, which is a new feature since C Sharp 9. With expression, which works well with records, and the immutable data structures such as immutable list, immutable dictionary, and also immutable hash set, etc., etc. Also, immutability means prefer using the pure, so-called pure functions. Pure function is some method that will not cause any side effects. It will only accept some input and produce some output. It will not modify the input in any way, and will not write to databases or file file on disk or something on a console. So this way, there are lots of usage of static classes that contains pure functions only. This makes the code base much easier to reason about, because the things in most part is not mutable. So once it's created, their values in most cases will not change, and also produce less bugs and more, in my opinion, more performant. And another principle I applied is that I write a lot of automated tests, including unit tests and integration tests. On this project I wrote a total of 185 tests, of which 77 tests are integration tests. This has proven very important and valuable. This gives me confidence when I make structure changes to the code base. Once something is broken, I can immediately see that it's the unit test or the integration test are failing, so I can fix it right away instead of finding it out at a later stage, such as testing or on production. The third principle is a simple and intuitive design in terms of syntax and API design and other things. I think I achieved this goal for the most part, because the user of this feature can quickly grok what the syntax should do, and also easily understand the desired behavior or certain layout or certain export the exact export should do. And the next question is tell me about your responsibility as a developer in your current role. I would say currently my role is to gather requirements, design architecture for this, such as the above project I outlined, like the exact export project. So it's involved quite a bit of architectural design and implement new features. Occasionally I need to implement new features and performance optimization. Actually, I did quite a bit of performance optimization in current role, and of course write code, produce unit tests and integration tests, fix bugs, of course, because we are no perfect, and we produce bugs sometimes, and also help our colleagues sometimes getting help, ask for help as well. I think that's about it. Sum up what I do in my current job. Then another next question is explain a time you had to lead a team using C# project. How did it go? Unfortunately, I cannot answer this question because I have so far have never been in such a role, but I look forward to be in a leadership positions and so that I can make a bigger impact as a leader, of course, of a team. Tell me about next question is tell me about a time you showed leadership. I think leadership is about setting an example, providing guidelines, creating vision, helping people out, and also helping people means includes clients, colleagues, and also other teams, such as also other roles like designers and testers, those kind of profession. In my previous company, I and another junior dev were tasked to implement a new feature called Auto ATA and Auto ADD, which is to incorporate a third-party data source and our own data to automatically mark a ship or a airplane or a truck or even a railway that has arrived or that it has departed without user interference. This is relatively complex in terms of logic and also algorithms. We need to talk to different services to get the data, process it, and also produce desired effects right into the database. As a relative senior dev and a more experienced one, I spend quite some time to talk to the product manager and other colleagues, other fellow devs who have worked with this third-party API. Also to understand the desired behavior, requirements, etc. And then I design an architecture which I think it's relatively easy to implement, also quite extensible, without having to change existing code too much. I'm quite proud of this architecture, but it also took a long time for me to come up with this architecture. Did quite a bit of thinking. I think the more thinking we do up front, we can come up with a relatively cleaner or also simpler design. Of course, we cannot think forever, but I think some upfront thinking, deep thinking is really important. Then I implemented this the Auto ATA part, because there are two parts. One is Auto ATA and one is Auto ADD. So using this architecture I designed, then it was quite successful. So I would say it was a runaway success. It was fast, almost bug-free. There was only one bug during the testing phase, and when it got online in production, it never have any issues, as far as I know. Then after that, I helped the junior dev to follow the same architecture design to implement the Auto ADD part. It was quite successful. Okay, that's marks the end of my video response. Thank you.